All right, now we're talking to Tracy. All right. Hello, this is Time for Success Business Owner Mom's Edition, and this is your host, Matt Barbie. And this is the show where we dig into what it is to, or what it's like, and how to integrate life and business and family and try to be successful in all those areas, and what the heck success even means to each of us. And again, my name is Matt Barbie. I'm the host, and the passion behind the show is really helping business owners create the lives that they dream of for themselves and for their families. And this week, we actually have Tracy Ellis of the Rick and Tracy Ellis team. If you didn't get a chance to tune in to the Business Owner Dad's version of this, please do as well, because you'll hear Rick talking as well. So we're going to get a couple of different perspectives on this, and it's going to be great. So Tracy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. Ton of fun. So now I need your perspective on everything that Rick said.
Oh gosh. Wow, Rick said a lot. I don't know if I can match all that.
No. Well, let's first off, because other people might not have listened to that yet, or they might not get a chance to. So please tell the audience again about yourself and what you do, and a little bit about your family.
Well, I've been in real estate for about 20 years, and Rick and I have been married and been together since I was 15 years old, so a very long time. And for us, it was always about, our kids, what we could do to be present with our children. We never wanted them to be with a sitter. So I was lucky enough that Rick had a great career, and he worked third shift, and I always worked during the days, and we went many, many years with very little personal life with each other, because he would stay up all night, and then I would stay up late at night as well, so that the kids would sleep late in the morning so he could sleep for a few hours. So I would go to bed around 3 and, get them to bed, and then I would get up and go to work in the morning. They would sleep in till maybe 11, 12 so that he could get a little bit of sleep. And we kind of did that for years with our first 2 kids. And I had our second child, Austin, and I had to go back to work, and even though Rick was at home with them, for some reason I just couldn't do it the second time, because I was lucky with our first child. For the first year I stayed home all the time. Wonderful. So I called one day when I was at work, and Rick, he was crying in the background, and although Rick's although Rick's an awesome dad, I was like, why is he crying? And he's like, he's fine, Tracy. And I'm like, I just can't do this. So I just came home, and I'm like, I'm quitting my job. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm just not gonna leave him every day. And he's like, he's fine, he's with me. I'm like, I don't care, I can't do it. He's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. So I ended up starting a cleaning business, actually.
Oh, wow.
And for about 2 years, I cleaned homes, and I would do about 4 or 5 houses in 2 days, so that I could be home as much as possible. And that helped Rick get a little bit more sleep. And then after about 2 years, marketing and sales is my passion, and I was like, I'm a germ freak, so
really?
This is not working for me.
Come in like in a full hazmat suit.
Oh yeah, it was not working for me. I'm grateful that I had it for as long as I did, but I was like, I can't do this the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I was lucky enough, I found an ad in the paper for a real estate agent that was looking for someone to do telemarketing for her, and I'm pretty good at telemarketing. I did that prior for business memberships at Sam's Clubs in my early years.
Okay.
So anyways, I reached out to her, and I was able to work out a deal to where I could work from home a lot of the time and work at her home in the evening. I did that for about 2 years, and then I finally woke up and thought, why am I doing this for everyone else and making her all this money? I should be doing this for myself. So I was like, I'm going to get my real estate license. So I did. That was back in 99 and 2000, and got licensed, and within 2 months I was on my own in real estate, and just kind of took off from there. So I was very lucky, as Rick said, real estate is pretty much, in my opinion, you're giving up your life. It really, I mean, it's all the time, full time. People don't care. I shouldn't say they don't care, but regardless, if you have a death, if you're having a child, like if they're selling their home, like it's a big deal. It's their livelihood where they live with their family, and you have to be available. So we joke a lot that even when I was in labor, because we had 2 children while I was in real estate, I was working in labor, and Rick was like, Tracy, stop, put the phone down. I'm like, I have to do this now, or else I'm gonna have to do it when the baby comes. So that's real estate. You have to be willing to pretty much sacrifice your personal life, but there's so many rewards because we're able to be present with our kids, but you have to be available. So I was very lucky that, as Rick said during his time on the show with you, that he had a great career. He worked full time. I did this when he came home. I would leave, go do my real estate, and so we did that way for a long time. He helped me running around doing all the stuff that I didn't like to do. And then I never wanted to be like while our kids were little, I always said, I'm just doing this for extra income. Rick had a great career. I didn't have to, just go make a ton of money. I just was doing it for extra income, for vacations. And so I kind of did it part-time. And I said, until our youngest is in school all day, I'm not going to go full-blown real estate. So we had our 3rd child, and he had colic. So that was fun. I remember many times staying up. Literally, he, for the first 6 months of his life, ate every 2 hours around the clock and screamed anytime he wasn't eating. So that was a rough 6 months. And I remember many nights staying at the stove, cooking dinner, crying, and then going out doing real estate and coming home and having no sleep. But I couldn't have done it without Rick, having a great husband and support system. But and then shockingly, after going through that, within 6 months we decided to have our 4th and try one more time for a girl. So but anyways, during that time, that's when our youngest Drake, when he got into 1st grade, that's when I was like, okay, now they're all in school all day. It's time for me to really kick up my career. And so Drake is a freshman now. So that was about 8 years ago.
Okay.
So after being in real estate for 20 years, it wasn't until about 8 years ago that I was like, now I've got to really give it my all for my career. So that's why we started radio about 7 years ago. I was already doing a radio show on another station on 104.5. And Rick was like, if you're going to do radio, you have to do it on 97.1. And he loved listening to FM News Talk 97.1. He's a conservative and liked listening to Jamie Allman. So I was like, I can't just call up 97.1 and get a show on 97.1. And then he's like, well, you could try. So I'm like, well, I might as well try. So I called, and they were like, I don't know about that, but you can come in and let us listen to your show you have now. And so that's kind of how it all began. And so we did that. And I had one show on 97.1 on Sundays for a few years, and they started becoming like our family. And Jeff Allen, I love, he's a great station manager. And he's like, I'm gonna give you, Randy Tobler had a show on Saturday mornings on 97.1, and he's had it for many years, does a fabulous job. And Jeff was like, I'm gonna cut Randy's show an hour short and give you that hour on Saturday morning, which was a big deal, for them to do that for us.
Oh, yeah.
So we were very grateful, and so now we do 2 shows on 97.1, and those shows both air on a 590 The Fan as well.
That's great. That's great. Can you tell the audience real quick, like what are the shows about?
So obviously real estate, but
Fair,
we
right,
also, real estate and all facets that come with it, building inspectors, foundation repair companies, lenders. But at the same time, we realize not everybody wants to be bored with, real estate all of the time. So that's why we kind of incorporated Sandy Miller from Fox 2 News. She comes on our Saturday shows.
Oh, great.
And we let Sandy choose, a small business that she wants to talk about. So that doesn't have to be about real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Megan King Edmonds is a friend of ours. We love Megan and Jim. And Megan was coming on Sundays for quite a while, and she was highlighting different things that she loved. It could have been jewelry, it could have been shoes. It was just a small business in St. Louis.
Nice.
Now she's a little busy, and Jim obviously is working with the Cardinals, so she's taking a break right now. But so there's a little bit of everything. We have local celebrities that come on. We had Billy Bush recently. Trying to think off the top of my head anyone else that we've had. We've had Bernie Federico in the past.
Yeah, we've had a lot of the $1 million listing agents from LA, New York,
the Bravo
Miami.
Series. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we've
Big
had all
show.
of them on. A lot of them have been on actually. So we try to mix it up.
Yeah. I met one of the guys from $1 Million Miami once out in Florida. I can't remember his name.
Oh, really?
I can't on his name.
That show only lasted a year,
Right.
I think.
Yeah, well, shoot.
Yeah. But New York and California, they've done great things with those series. I say in real estate, we kind of watch what happens in New York and California. Rick and I that's our go-to agents, because it happens here about 3 to 5 years later. So,
Right.
A lot of our people that we look up to are in California and New York.
Yeah. So when you started $1 Million to St. Louis, when is that?
Yeah. I think we already have it. We just don't have the TV show.
Right.
There's so many great homes in St. Louis.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
really incredible.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of how it all began. We started doing the radio shows, and then I'm like, we need more print. And that's when Rick and I were talking one night. When you're selling a $1 million home, $2 million home, people want their house in publications. They want to see you doing something for that money you're making.
Absolutely.
And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you to do a half-page ad in some of these publications are $1,000 to $1,500.
Yeah.
And when you have 10 to 15 million plus listings, that can add up very quickly.
Absolutely.
So after doing that for about a year, I was like, I'm just going to do my own magazine. This is ridiculous. And Rick was like, you can't just go do your own magazine. And I was like, why can't I? He's like, do you know how much work that's going to be? And I'm like, it'll be a lot of work, but it'll probably in the long run save us a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it is very, very time consuming. I will say, although I love it, it's very nice to be able to put things that you love and people that you enjoy learning about in the magazine. If it wasn't for our clients, I don't know if I'd continue doing it because it is so much work.
Yeah.
It takes us about a month to do each publication.
But what she's not saying is that she creates a lot of the content in the magazine. So it's stuff that she actually creates. She doesn't go out and plagiarize it. We do have a couple contributing writers to the magazine, but the bulk of the magazine is all content that she creates.
Wow.
So it's a lot of nights of staying up till 3 and 4 in the morning for the month I'm working on the magazine. But it's worth it, and it gives our client that, I think the best part about the magazine is when we're selling a client's home that is leaving maybe the home they raised their kids in or something like that, to be able to tell the story about their home in the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
It's very emotional for them, and it's something that they can keep and always have. They get really excited to see their house in a magazine. We always say that we like to tell the story about the house. In the MLS you get a paragraph that really tells very little information, which always drove me crazy. So Rick and I have a couple contributing writers, and so for a lot of our homes that have unique, doesn't have to be high end. It could be a $500,000, historic home. Any type of property that has a story to tell, we love to tell that story because that's what really is going to sell your house.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I mean, the stories are important, and that's what people connect with, which is, why I do this show, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love that, and you never really get that insight. You move into a house and like.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it? If you think about it, Rick and I are looking at buying another home right now, actually, and it's even for me being in the business, it's frustrating because you're like, if I could just get that owner and sit down with him for 30 minutes, I could figure out why he put that box right there on that wall,
Yeah.
So it is, that's why we love to kind of tell the story of the property because, this is your largest investment and maybe the last home you're going to buy. You want to know everything you can about it. Sometimes we know more about a car, than our house. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, a home is obviously, where the family is and so many...
Where you make your memories.
Yeah, so many memories. I was going to say that. So many memories are within those walls.
That's what we always say. Walls could talk.
Yeah, and it's an emotional experience leaving that behind. So being able to just get that out has to be powerful.
Yeah, that's some of our favorite clients actually, and that's why this last year we really focused on creating a program for seniors.
Yeah.
Because there's, I lost my dad about a year ago, and that has been the hardest year of my life. But going through that, you realize, now I'll start crying again, you realize that the seniors and sitting down with them and hearing their story, and it's an emotional thing, to sit down with people that are having to decide, am I going to sell my house and go into a seniors community center, or where am I going to live? How are my kids going to help me? They don't live close. So Rick and I were like, we have to do something to, help these people. So we kind of created what we call our senior concierge program, where we have different people that can go in, help them as far as all the repairs, paint, packing for them, moving, and then also assisting them. We've partnered up with Del Mar and different seniors communities in the area to help them with that next step. Where do they go? Do they go to a villa? Do they go to assisted living? Because real estate's much more than a paycheck. I said I wasn't smart enough to be a doctor to really cure people, so this is something I can do to give back, to help people with that next step in their life. Not everybody can afford their home at times. Sometimes it's very upsetting and stressful to help people sell a home they can no longer afford and find them a nice home at a lower price. So it's just something that we can do to make a difference, to make people's life a little better.
Yeah. And I guess with these seniors also, do you do something to kind of document it in the magazine, so you kind of document their story and everything in there as well?
Of course.
If they want to, I
guess.
Yeah,
if they want to. It depends on the situation.
Right.
But I think the thing we hear from our seniors the most is their frustration with technology.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't like all the online signatures. And so we really try to facilitate, meeting with them one-on-one, getting signatures in person, because they just do not like me. I'm not a tech person. I said God knew what he was doing when he gave me Rick. I just say, Rick, can you handle this? Because I'm the social marketing person. I am not a tech person.
Yeah. Well, that makes for an incredible balance, and so that's probably a key to your success. We talked about in the Business Owner Dad's version, kind of everybody, staying kind of in their lanes, but you have to figure out where your lanes and all that stuff are, and how to bridge that gap. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how do you, in those moments where obviously everybody's trying to stay in their lane, but we're all better when we put our heads together. But it's not always easy as a married couple and business partners, and then you got the stress from the kids.
Right.
So do you have any tips for folks out there who are trying to work together, maybe, I guess any business partner, but especially, a spouse or something like that? how do you work through those moments that sometimes get a little bit tense because of all the stress and all the factors to put your heads together and come out with a better result? Like,
it's tough. I mean, I say there's no one else I would do it with but
Right.
my husband.
Yeah.
Because I trust him 100%.
Yeah.
And business, as you know, that's something you don't always get, is someone that you trust
Absolutely.
100%, know they have
Absolutely.
your back. So there's no one else I would do it with, but I will say it can be very challenging because obviously real estate in itself is very challenging. It's very emotional, and you can have do everything right in a deal and it can all blow up.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to have that and bring it home with you. I think now it's almost easier, because before Rick didn't, when he wasn't in it 100% like I was, he would get very frustrated with me and be like, get off your phone, and like, why are you doing this? And every time we're at a restaurant, you're on your phone. I'm like, I have to be. You can't shut it down. And I think he struggled with that, and now I understand, because now that he's in it 100%, now I'm saying that to him, and I'm telling him, put your phone down. Like, you don't have to be on that all the time. And so now I'm saying it to him, but I think that it's made it easier because now he understands even more. So because obviously he's full time in this now for over 5 years. But understands you have no choice but to jump in all the way. But it is hard balancing it all, and when you're working with your husband who has been in a professional career, who he was the boss, and he had employees that came to him for everything, and he ran IT departments, so he had a great career. So it's hard to transition to my life where everybody's coming to me and asking questions, especially when he probably knows more than I do because of the technology and all of the background he has. So but I think people they know not to come to me for any of that. So they just know to go to Rick. I'm more of the questions for social listings, clients, marketing. So I think Rick and I respect each other. We may have our times, I know we respect each other, but we have our moments where we're like, enough, you have those days, and we both know just to give each other space. I say that's the best way we do it, is we just like shut it down and just have our quiet time to kind of let everything sink in.
It's a good time for me to get in the truck and go get signs and lockboxes and spend the day out.
Right.
He just disappears for a few hours.
Yeah. Well, I think that's good though, and that's healthy, because a lot of times we get into the middle of an argument. It's like, well, we got to resolve this right now, right?
Yeah. After this many years together, we're over that.
Right.
There's really no big arguments.
Right.
It's just maybe the quiet time, and then you just slowly let it go and come back together. But
right.
As I said, there's no one else I'd do it with. That's for sure. That's great.
Now, how have you incorporated things like, have you gotten your kids involved with the business, or have they?
Our oldest son actually worked for us for a while, and he's quite a salesperson himself. He's doing quite well though now.
His mom then, right?
And his dad, in California, so he's doing great. Our two younger under him, they could care less, and they want no part of real estate because they see what it's caused. We work all the time, even on vacation. But our youngest, actually, he says, I think I'm going to go into real estate. And so I think he might be the one that we pull off a real estate career, and Drake is excited about real estate.
Well, that's wonderful.
For now. We'll see how long it lasts. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they've seen a lot of your success and admire it. So we've got about 2 minutes, and I just wanted to give you another quick opportunity just to tell everybody again, like, what you do, how you help people, and how they can get a hold of you if they want some more information.
Well, again, I'm Tracy Ellis with the Rick and Tracy Ellis team. Rick and I are located on Edison Avenue in Chesterfield, Missouri, and we host 4 weekly radio shows every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. on FM News Talk 97.1 and 590 The Fan. You can also pick up our magazine, the Tracy Ellis Real Estate Magazine. You can find that in over 100 businesses all throughout Missouri and even into the Lake of the Ozarks. We actually just added a team in Branson as well. And we have a new agent that's a broker in California, in Malibu. So we're really excited about that. But you can contact me direct at tracy@tracyellis.com or phone call me at I'm losing it. Call me at 636-299-3702, and you can always visit our website at tracyellis.com.
Awesome. You know, you could like a Skype call, right?
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
Facebook call.
That happens quite a lot, actually.
Right. Yeah. So again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Rick and Tracy.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. This has been Time for Success Business Owner Moms Edition, and this is Matt Barbie, your host. And if you want to build a business that gives you and your family the lives that you dream of, please reach out. 314-441-5423.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Man, I had a blast. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks.